Why do states disagree on IHL prohibited weapons? Imagine a world where countries argue over what weapons are okay to use in war. It might sound strange, but disagreements about prohibited weapons are common among nations. When it comes to how wars are fought, countries often see things differently. This is especially true for weapons that are banned under international humanitarian law. These laws are meant to protect civilians and reduce suffering during conflicts. But countries don't always agree on what weapons should be banned and what should be allowed. One big reason for these disagreements is that the rules about what makes a weapon illegal are not always clear. The law says weapons shouldn't cause unnecessary suffering or harm civilians, but it doesn't give exact details. For example, what counts as causing superfluous injury? Different countries interpret this differently. Some see certain weapons as acceptable because they believe these weapons are necessary for defense. Others argue that any weapon causing civilian harm should be banned. This difference in views makes it hard to reach a global agreement. Another reason is that countries weigh military benefits against humanitarian concerns differently. Some nations see certain weapons as vital for their security. They argue banning these weapons could weaken their defense. Others focus on protecting civilians and want stricter rules. For instance, landmines and cluster munitions are controversial because they can remain dangerous long after a conflict ends. Some countries support bans on these weapons, while others see them as necessary tools for warfare. Technological advances also play a role. Countries with advanced weapons systems may resist bans that limit their military options. They might argue that newer weapons are more precise or less harmful. Conversely, nations with less advanced arsenals may push for bans to level the playing field. This creates a divide in opinions about what weapons are acceptable. The fact that not all countries sign or follow international treaties adds to the disagreement. Some nations refuse to join agreements like the Anti-Personnel Mineban Convention or the Convention on Cluster Munitions. Without universal participation, it's hard to enforce bans or ensure compliance. Countries may also have political reasons for opposing certain restrictions. They might see bans as a threat to their sovereignty or strategic interests. Finally, the effects of some weapons on civilians are a major concern. Weapons that cannot be directed at military targets or that leave dangerous remnants are viewed as unacceptable by many. But some countries argue that, in certain situations, military necessity outweighs humanitarian worries. This debate about balancing military needs and civilian safety fuels disagreements. In the end, these differences shape how countries develop, stockpile, and use weapons during conflicts. They also influence efforts to help victims and clear where remnants. While international laws aim to limit the use of weapons that cause unnecessary suffering, reaching consensus remains difficult because of legal ambiguities, strategic interests, and political factors.